All right, so welcome everyone to the Synapse Undergraduate Science Case Competition info session. So today we're just going to go over briefly what Synapse is, what the competition, the steps of the competition throughout the year, what the case topic is this year, and hopefully you guys will get to know more about Synapse and get interested in participating. So just to briefly introduce ourselves, my name is Justin Thomas. I am the UWaterwa campus leader along with Darius, who is my partner and also a UWaterwa campus leader. And today we'll be the ones that will be giving you this info session presentation. Throughout the presentation, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to interrupt, raise your hand, or just unmute yourself and speak. We'll be glad to answer your questions. So Synapse is a research proposal competition, which every year we have a different case topic. Sometimes it's more in the field of medicine, sometimes it's more in other fields of science. So we try to change it up every year. And this competition allows participants to generate a research proposal based off the given case topic for that year. And Synapse is a competition throughout the organization called URI. URI is the undergraduate research initiative that also has other organizations that are under URI, such as OSIC, which is the Synapse equivalent but for high school students. There's also SciLink, which is a way for undergraduate students to find a professor to do research under in their laboratory. So if you guys want to check out our website, the URI website, you'll be able to see all that if ever you're interested in the other things that URI offers. So this is our team this year. And you'll see along with everyone, there's me and Darius, UWaterwa campus leaders. So the first step for the competition, if you're interested in participating, would be the registration. So registration period is currently open and closes on October 31st at 11:59 p.m. You can register in teams of 2 to 4, and the cost per entry is $20. So this fee was decreased from what was originally $60 when we used to host the competition in person, but given that this year, again, it will be virtual, the fee per team has been maintained at $20. So there's 2 divisions that you can register under for Synapse. There's the lower division, which is for first and second year students, and there's the upper division for third year and above students. So that being said, you will only be competing with teams in your respective division. So you will not be competing with students. If you're in the lower division, you won't be competing with students in the upper division. Now, first year and second year students, if you're feeling bold, you can register for the upper division and compete with more senior undergraduate students. And the criteria for participating or for having to participate in the upper division is that any student in your team taking more than 3 third-year classes as of November 1st is considered an upper division contestant. So if we have anything in the chat, Darius, you could, if there's something in the chat that I don't catch, let me know.
Yeah, I'm taking care of the questions though that aren't related.
Right. All right, so once you register for Synapse, registration closes on the 31st, so the eve of Halloween, or the day of Halloween, but at night. The next day, November 1st, is when the competition starts. So that's when you can begin submitting your research proposal. And on November 1st is when the written round starts. So that being said, all the participants will receive an email with guidelines, with the case topic, with a case in order to put into context the case topic. So you won't need to begin working until November 1st once you receive all the information on that email specifying how to begin and tips on helping you writing your research proposal. So the written round will consist of teams writing a research proposal based off the case topic, which I will show in the following slides, at which you will have to propose an original research idea. So you don't want to take something that has been previously published in literature, but you want to generate something new. It could also be not based off of, but you can get inspired off of previous work, or make something completely novel. So you want to support your idea with current scientific literature. That is something that's very important. You want to reference everything that you use. And a good resource to use is your university library account in order to access the literature that you want to use for your project. So those resources are often very good, given that you have unlimited and unrestricted access to scientific literature. So you could also consult resources such as PubMed and Google Scholar, but accessing literature through your university library is always a good way of proceeding. And the written round ends on November 22nd at midnight. So at that point on, it's the last moment where you will be allowed to submit a your written research proposal. All right, so the case topic this year is climate change. I'm just gonna go over briefly, just gonna give a quick background and quick intro to the case topic. So climate change includes any human-caused global warming and its given effects on climate and weather patterns. So these effects include hotter temperatures, increased storm severity, rising ocean levels, and anything of the sort that is related to climate change. So these can be caused, as we may know, by industries, agriculture, electricity production, and many more. Now you can approach the case topic this year from any perspective that you want. That being said, it could be human health, it could be the environment, biodiversity, it could be any aspect, any facet of climate change that you wish to approach from. Some examples is approaching the causes of climate change. So proposing a novel solution to attenuate the influence of a certain cause. So for example, these are just examples, but that are obviously already in effect. So the solution to petrol cars is making an electric car. So that would be an example. Or you could also approach it from the effects. So elaborating a solution to adapt to the effects of climate change. For example, having a novel like a sea barrier to protect from rising water levels. So these are different aspects, different examples of ways that this case topic can be approached. And these are just environmental ways you could approach it, but you could also approach it on the human health aspect. So look at its effects on human health, on the human populations. So there's many ways this case topic can be approached, and it's for you all to explore. Now we're just going to show this quick video.
Never before in human history
we'll just watch the beginning of it.
More advanced, more powerful.
And hopefully you guys will get some ideas, some inspiration from this video. I don't know if I'm going to play it. Darius, tell me if you can.
And yet,
were you able to hear it? Yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's perfect.
never before in human history have we been richer, more advanced, more powerful. And yet, we feel overwhelmed in the face of rapid climate change. It seems simple on the surface. Greenhouse gases trap energy from the sun and transfer it to our atmosphere. This leads to
And then exercise you don't eat, right? Yeah.
drier and workplaces ecosystems will die while the rising oceans swallow coasts and the cities we build on them. So why don't we just prevent all of that? Well, it's complicated. The public debate about stopping rapid climate change often focuses on a few key features.
Yo, Justin, can you just add the subtitles? I think it'll be easier to understand.
Sorry?
Can you add subtitles? I think it'll be easier
Yes.
to understand.
Okay.
Solutions are often simplistic. Rows of solar panels, biking to work, something sustainability. And a huge talking point is personal responsibility. How you should change your lifestyle to prevent rapid climate change, which we'll find out together in the next few minutes. This is one of those videos where we want to encourage you to watch to the end, because to discuss real, doable solutions, we first need to understand the problem. Industrial society as we constructed it in the last 150 years is inherently destructive to the planet. Basically, everything we do to make our lives easier, safer, and more comfortable is making things worse for the biosphere. The food we eat, the streets we walk on, the clothes we wear, the gadgets we use, the way we move around, and the pleasant temperatures we artificially create around us. While most people know about the serious impact of energy, cars, and planes, many major polluters are barely ever talked about. The emissions leaking out of landfills are as significant as the emissions of all the jets in the air. More CO2 is released to run our homes than from all cars combined. And the emissions produced when making a new car is equivalent to building just 2 meters of road. So it is nice to switch to electric cars, but they won't solve anything if we keep building roads the same way. Fixing one small part of the industrial system is not enough. Each of the many different parts needs its own solution, and many of them aren't straightforward. But even where we know what to do, just because a solution exists doesn't mean we're able or willing to implement it. There are many grey areas in the fight against rapid climate change. The most prominent one is the divide between rich and poor. Emissions versus poverty. There is a clear connection between the prosperity of a nation and its carbon emissions. In other words, richer people tend to cause more emissions. So the key to fixing climate change is simply for the world's richest to cut back on their extravagant lifestyles, right? While this would help, it wouldn't make the problem go away. This is because 63% of global emissions come from low to middle income countries. Countries where most people are not living extravagantly, but are trying to escape poverty at worst and achieve a comfortable lifestyle at best. The unfortunate reality is that currently, escaping poverty and becoming middle class creates unavoidable emissions. So asking developing countries to cut emissions just looks like an attempt to keep them down. It's very hard to argue that a region should protect their primeval forests and spend money on solar panels instead of burning wood when it can't meet basic needs for significant parts of its population. It's not a popular demand, especially if the countries making these demands got rich by causing environmental damage in the past. So for millions of people, more emissions are a good thing, personally. When we forget about this,
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, but the audio is very difficult to hear and the video is difficult to follow. So someone has sent the link of the video on chat.
Okay.
Yeah, we can just watch it in our own time.
Okay.
You can just summarize the video. Yeah, we can move
Yes,
on.
of course. Yeah,
It's
sorry
pretty
about
bad, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I couldn't tell from my end. My apologies. So yeah, basically all this video, and yeah, thank you whoever sent the link in the chat. I didn't know it was the quality was rough. But basically all the video is, it just gives you an appreciation of climate change, the causes and different ways that it can be different approaches that you can take in order to minimize its impacts. So I'll let you guys watch it on your own time if you want. It's not mandatory. it could help in order to give you ideas and to inspire you in selecting an avenue to approach this case topic, but it isn't mandatory. It's just a quick intro video. Just full screen. So what can you write a research proposal on? As it was previously mentioned, you can approach the case topic from any perspective, that being human health, the environment, the economic aspect of climate change. You could approach it from any facet of the case topic. So that being said, you want to comment on the case topic as long as it's relevant to climate change. You don't want to steer away from the case topic. It should not and doesn't have to be one of the case topics, one of the topics that was mentioned today. And you can use knowledge from any and every field of STEM and STEAM in order to make your research proposal. So STEAM being science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And for your research proposal, it cannot consist of a clinical study. So you cannot propose a methodology that includes human subjects. This is something that's very important, as these proposals aren't accepted for sign-ups. So no clinical studies are allowed for your research proposal. All right, so now we will move on to the second part of the presentation. Darius will share his screen and continue with the presentation.
So I'll just ask you guys if you guys have questions to ask Justin instead for this part. So if you have any direct questions, just ask Justin because I have access to the chat anymore while I present. Okay, so I'll put this full screen.
Can you please go back to the previous slide?
Yep.
And I don't know if we have everyone's contact information. If we could send them the PowerPoint at the end.
Yeah, last year we did the same thing. We just had everybody write their email in the chat at the end of the presentation.
Okay, so
just at the end.
Yeah, at the end of the info session, we'll tell everyone when it's time to write your email in the chat. And for those who want the PowerPoint, write your email in the chat at that given period and we will send it to you. So if there's anything you missed now, don't worry about it. We'll send it to you after.
Okay, so for the required content, keep in mind you will get a case package once you sign up. So you don't need to jot everything down. You'll also have access to this presentation. But this is just kind of an idea of what you're going to be required to do for the first round. So you will need to include an abstract that's independent of the 1,000-word limit. So your case proposal is only 1,000 words. It's not very long. You must include 5 to 10 keywords that are related to your proposal. So that's to help us assign judges that are experts in your topics. So this can help us really find a judge that's good for your kind of the approach that you took on climate change. So in these 5 to 10 keywords, I wouldn't really recommend putting in climate change because everybody's articles are on climate change. So try to put something that's going to help us see the aspect that you used for this proposal. So then you're going to have a related scientific background, a hypothesis with your research idea, your aims, the rationale. So what is the significance of your experiment? You're also going to provide us with methods, a definition sheet, which is also independent of the 1,000-word limit. So that's kind of to help your judge understand the topic better because they are experts in the field, but they might not know all the difficult words. And then you're also going to have references. So we do use APA for your proposal. This will be part of the grading aspect for your proposal. So it is important to properly cite your sources and to include a reference page at the end. Obviously, this is not part of your 1,000-word limit. And there's also diagrams and figures that are possible to add in if you want. I would just add those in if you believe that it is helping your explanation. So I will go into all of these aspects a little bit more in depth in the next coming slides. So for the abstract is a short summary of your topic and research idea at the beginning of your proposal. So similar to some scientific articles that I'm sure you've started to read or you've read before, an abstract is really what tells the reader what your proposal is going to be about. It gets your reader interested. It's the first impression a judge gets when reading your proposal, so try to make it really good and don't include too many specifics. It's still pretty general. You don't want to give everything away in your abstract, and it should be written last because you're really summarizing everything that you said in your proposal in the abstract. So coming up with a research idea. So the first thing you want to do is you want to highlight a problem. So you want to figure out, okay, what's a problem basically related to climate change in this sense? So finding out a problem. And then after that, you want to fully understand all the factors involved in the problem. So you want to really understand the literature regarding your problem and figure out, okay, what's a hole in the literature? What do people not agree on? Try to find all the different aspects of that problem. And then you want to link your ideas and propose a solution to the problem. So that's really the whole goal of your proposal here. So for the background information part of your proposal, you're going to want to also use this funneling technique. So you're going to want to go from really general to more specific. So at the start of your background, you're going to talk about the problem you chose, the impact, what's the characteristics of your problem, so really describing it, and then talk about the research in the field that provide insight to lead to a solution. And then you connect those ideas, you list the facts, you make links, cohesive progression, and then finally you get your final result. So you hint anticipated outcomes in the end of your background information, but you don't want to say exactly everything that you're expecting because you want to save those details for the hypothesis. So for an example of the scientific background for a previous case related to cannabis, the basic idea was postmenopausal osteoporosis responsible for many fractures. It's very common amongst women over 50 years of age because there's a lack of estrogen after menopause that causes bone loss. And then various components of cannabis have been shown to promote healing in individuals with fractures. And then you continue and you have all these different aspects going from more depth and more depth that will bring you to your final idea here, which is cannabis is found to be effective in increasing bone density, describe the factors that encourage bone growth and ways to optimize them. So you're really relating a problem and then you're relating it to the topic at hand as well. So for your hypothesis and research idea, you want to be creative, but keep it simple. If you try to go too complex, sometimes it's going to be like a long shot. It'll be hard to prove with the existing literature that it's doable and it's realistic. So try to keep it simple as much as possible. Remember that you want to find a hypothesis that's useful, unique. That's kind of the goal of these proposals. It's what's going to be interesting for the judges.
Darius, I don't intend interrupting, but
Yeah.
if you just mind going a bit slower, we just have
Sure.
just to test it on the
For sure. So you're also going to want to check the testability of your hypothesis. So remember when you're putting in a hypothesis or you're writing a proposal, you are doing something that's kind of realistic. So you want to find something that people could actually do and people could actually test. So one thing that's really good to keep in mind when writing your proposal is to think of, you're not expected to be experts in statistics, but it does help to have this idea, okay, of what stats would I do with my results to prove my idea. So having this idea of, I need some kind of results, I need to get some data so that I could eventually find some conclusions, it's very important to know the testability of your hypothesis. And this is another part of the grading content that you'll see the sheet at the end of this presentation, how the judges grade your proposal. I will show you guys that and you'll have access to the PowerPoint, but this is basically the spot for your hypothesis on the grading sheet. So for your methods, if you've ever read a scientific article, you're going to notice that there's a lot of control groups inside a scientific article. So for all the things you're testing, you're going to need control groups, because when you're trying to get results, you need to compare your results to a control to show that there's a certain effect of what you're doing. So control groups are definitely key when designing an experiment. It's important in your methodology to explain what's the purpose of each step of your experiment and why is that method the best choice to test your idea. So really explain, why did I use this method? What am I trying to find by using this method? And what results will I get by using this method? It's not point form. If you've read a scientific article, you're going to see that it's really paragraphs. So it's not like a lab protocol where it says 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really a whole paragraph that describes what you're doing. You don't need to say, you know, take out a beaker from the cupboard. It's not like that. It's really the people reading your proposal are still scientists. They are experts in fields. They do know how to work in a lab. So it's really just saying the steps of what you're doing. It's not like step by step like you were teaching a little kid. Personal diagrams are welcome in the methodology if you feel that it helps. Sometimes if you have a complicated methods, diagrams really help visualize each step. Again, this is part of the grading content, which I will show you at the end. So it's important to really focus on these things in your proposal. So this is an example of a methodology diagram. As you can see, this helps visualize what you're doing. So you really have your control group, your testing group, and then you showing exactly the treatments that you're doing over time, which definitely helps to visualize all the methods you're using. So the other thing that the judges will be grading you on is the writing style. So avoid unnecessary jargon. There is a lot in literature, as you'll see, but it doesn't necessarily make your proposal better. So try to avoid it. Try to keep it simple. It's better to read things that are easy to read in some sense. I'm not saying keep it too simple. You could definitely go complex with the idea, but try to keep it simple in your wording. Don't use unnecessary jargon. The judges are experts in their own fields, but they're not necessarily experts on all the aspects of your topic. So if you're using new terms, acronyms, or processes, it's important to explain them. And this is where your definition sheet comes really in handy, because those are not part of your 1,000 words for the word count. So it's really good to have a definition sheet at the end explaining these acronyms, explaining these new terms, so that the judges can follow your proposal. It's important to proofread. Get your friend to look at your article. Get your friend to, or get, grammar software that's going to check, because it does give a bad impression to have full of mistakes. You're not necessarily fully graded on grammar, but it does totally give them a bad impression. And it's definitely judging your proposal before even reading it. So watch out with your grammar and spelling. These are just tips now to find quality publications when doing your research. If you guys are from U Ottawa, you have access to the U Ottawa Library website. If you're not from U Ottawa, there is Google Scholar, and your university probably also has a library website. I know U Ottawa's, it's Omni, and it's really good. It allows you to type in and you just find scientific articles that are published in journals or dissertations and everything. And it's really good. You have access to all of the a lot of the paid journals for free because of your U Ottawa account. So I would definitely check this out if you can. Or if you're familiar with Google Scholar, you can also do that, but you won't have access to necessarily all the paid journals. So this is just some information on how to activate your account. You can do this in the future. You'll have access to this presentation, so you'll be able to see the steps here. But it really does help to use this database if you're trying to find a quality source. This is kind of the layout of how it would look. You could do a search in the search bar. And there's many different kind of techniques to use that search bar. You can watch a few videos on it, and it'll really help you to find some really good references for your specific proposal.